18 kilometers off the Dutch coast, the Hollandse Kustzout offshore wind park powers 1.5 million homes. It's the largest in the world, built without government subsidies, a clear sign that wind energy can stand on its own. But this boatload of journalists isn't here just to see turbines. In the waters between them, a new kind of crop is ready for harvest.
Europe's offshore wind parks are growing fast, so why leave all the space between the turbines empty? Some believe it could be used to grow seaweed, a low-maintenance crop with high potential. Making it work economically is still a challenge. But this farm here in the Dutch North Sea is one of the first to test that idea at commercial scale.
This is North Sea Farm 1. 5 hectares of seaweed grown on floating nets. Nearshore farms are becoming common, but doing it this far out at sea, that's new.
3, 2, 1, seaweed!
The project is run by North Sea Farmers, a non-profit European seaweed association led by Yves Brouwers.
This is much more challenging technically because the sea is rougher, it's usually deeper, so you need more material for your farm, makes it more expensive. Further away, so nearshore is much easier. However, there is also limited nearshore space. So where will you grow seaweed? Where will you scale up for the coming 10-20 years? You need another solution. You need to test it and do it offshore.
This first harvest is a breakthrough for Europe's growing algae sector. Seaweed captures carbon, supports marine life, and can be used in various industries. Growing it between wind turbines away from shipping traffic makes sense, but until now, no one has really done it, with the exception of small research tests. Now, there's proof this can work. Mike Salmon is an Irish aquaculture consultant working with Simply Blue, one of the project partners.
Well, looking at from what we can see now, yeah, it works. It was quite successful. The seaweed did grow very well and very fast. So going forward, yes, this can work.
And it's not just seaweed. Mollusks are happily growing on the ropes too. Offshore wind parks could host more than one kind of ocean farming.
That's another crop we could do out here is mussels, mussel seed, because it grows quite well here. That's baby mussels.
The project is funded in part by Amazon's Right Now climate funds to explore its ecological impact. Research shows seaweed farms can help the environment if done right. This test could deliver the data to prove it.
You have this really highly nutrient-dense, very cold water that's pretty accessible to many people. And so we want to understand what's the carbon sequestration potential, what's the biodiversity benefit, how can this area in between the wind farms really benefit people with the biomaterial.
All these sea areas are now covered with offshore wind turbines, and they are set to grow. North Sea farmers believe that by 2040, wind parks could offer 1 million hectares suitable for seaweed farming. In Kiel, Germany, Eva Strohtotter from R&D Center University of Applied Sciences manages pilot sites of Alt Farms, a European-funded research project.
We need more data. The insurance companies, for example, they need a better basis. How to insure an offshore seaweed aquaculture? Do we grow enough seaweed to become really a business case? How can we do the monitoring? We need remote monitoring options. We have to adapt the design, we have to adapt the mooring.
That's where school pupils come in. While some Alt Farms experiments happen offshore, others take place nearshore, where they're easier to reach. At this jetty in Kiel Bay, just meters from the school, pupils and scientists have set up test frames with seaweed seeds. Every week, pupils pull them up to check how the seaweed is growing and send the results to the researchers.
Also wir machen die Fotos, damit wir den Entwicklungsprozess von den Algen verfolgen können, also wie sie wachsen, wie sie sich entwickeln, ob das auch überhaupt funktioniert, was wir machen und vor allen Dingen, um auch die verschiedenen Methoden an den Rahmen überwachen zu können, was am besten funktioniert.
Das ist ja eine hochaktuelle Forschungsrichtung, die gerade sehr viel Fortschritt macht. Und deswegen finde ich das sehr interessant, dass wir das im Schulalltag auch schon mitbegleiten können, an was gerade hier in der Förde und in der Gegend geforscht wird, was uns in der Zukunft groß beeinflussen kann, wenn man Algen für sehr viele verschiedene Sachen verwenden kann.
Pupils are helping to test underwater cameras and electronic sensors that monitor water quality, essential tools for running seaweed farms. To make offshore sea farming practical and profitable, growers will need to manage their operations remotely, so it's important to know which digital tools work best. Back in the classroom, the mini seaweed farm has become part of the biology course. Pupils use real research methods, learning science hands-on. For them, and for their teacher Frank Sommer, growing and studying seaweed while contributing to an actual European research project is much more meaningful than a textbook.
It has many advantages. You can easily culture them and you can easily measure them. So it's practically also, there's also a good point in working with seaweed.
Alt Farms is also building software to analyze the samples automatically, and eventually a smartphone app to help seaweed farmers in their day-to-day work.
Everything we do here with the school and the pupils, the results, the data are really needed for our offshore applications, and they get a lot of experience, a lot of connections, involvement in this kind of business.
While Europe's seaweed sector is growing, most people still know little about it. A recent Eurobarometer survey found many still see seaweed as exotic and mostly linked to Asian cuisine. That's why researchers are now working to raise awareness. At Sea Level, a free exhibition space in Kiel, visitors can discover how seaweed and shellfish can be farmed in wind parks and turned into eco-friendly products such as leather alternatives or food supplements. Some of these products already exist, but they often use wild seaweed. Offshore farms could offer a more sustainable and reliable source.
You can replace plastic packaging. You can have plant-based proteins. You can replace fertilizer. You can replace pesticides. That's all the products that are already being made from seaweed today, but not yet from cultivated seaweed in Europe. And that's what we want to change.
Offshore farms could feed our economy and power our future. From clean energy to high-nutrient food and sustainable materials. Europe's seas hold huge potential if we take care to keep them healthy.